G'day community, welcome back to another Alexi Does video. This time we take a look back at March, what I did in March. Now, we're trying out a new technique, tried it in the last video, used the iPhone to record stuff which looked bloody beautiful. It did take about 17 hours to get that video to actually come off my iPhone and go onto my PC without being converted into a smaller file. I finally worked out a way to do it. I don't know that I'm going to be able to replicate that. So this is going to kind of dictate how this video goes. You are either about to see me go to the hobby table and take you through everything I painted this month, which was exciting, started and completed a project, or you're about to go and get thrown back in time to an update of me while I'm painting some projects, taking you through the techniques I've used and the thought process behind it. That's if the iPhone works. We literally, at this stage, do not know. I was getting gaslit last month to the point where it started telling me the file sizes were different to what they actually were. So it was chaos. We got that video out. We're going to try again this video. As I said, you'll either see 1080p, me sitting at the desk, or you'll see crisp 4K, me working live on projects. It was a good month. As I said, started and finished a project. Also, a couple of failures this month, which I'm going to include because you don't grow without failing. Anyway, let's head over to the hobby desk. Well, actually, we don't know. It might be the hobby desk in the past. We'll find out now. All right, so just trying a slightly different style. Thought I'd get some kind of in-progress footage just to give you my thoughts while I'm going through. This is my second Blood Bowl team that I've painted. This is a Lizardman team, as you can tell by the lizards and the crocodiles, and I'm relatively happy with them. So the idea was to get these done pretty quickly, and these were all painted in a week. You can see I still haven't base rimmed them all, but I thought I'd take you through what I'm thinking. So I've got a really clean Blood Bowl team. You can see that in a past video, really clean team, but they're dead, and historically ghoulish type characters are dirty, and in all the box art, this team, the Lizardmen, are quite clean. Well, I thought I'd try and do, it's a result of the technique, to be honest with you, because I don't know if this will come across, but these guys have all been painted relatively quickly, and then I've done streaking grime, which is an enamel wash over the top, which is what's given them this dirty look. I'm going for a swamp look as a result. I don't really plan my bases, but I have been using this AK Puddles to sort of make the bases, I'll put in other shots of these, but make the bases look wet. Now, silly for me, I haven't actually matte varnished these first, which is why there's a bit of shine on the crocodiles from the enamel wash. So I need to matte varnish them and probably reapply the water. But as a team that was done in what was essentially a week's worth of hobby time, I'm pretty bloody happy with where they are, despite the fact that all of these models' ankles continually break. So that's where we sit. All right, my phone alarm went off, so I've had to readjust. This is the last model we need to paint in the team. This is the Croxagore. This is the big guy. I've done a Zenithal Prime on him. He's what we're going to, hopefully, if I remember, I'm going to show you how I paint him. I'm going to film little tiny updates, and you should see that throughout this video. That's all exciting stuff. So let's get back to it. Asterisk, I've had major issues getting files off my iPhone and having the file not condense when I put it on to a Windows computer. So if that's the case, you won't see any of this. Alright, so doing a little bit of an update here, and this is mostly to show how you can fuck things up. So this is my model, which let's get the light in the right place. And I think the base looks really awesome. It looks, I don't know if it's coming across on the camera that well, but it looks like he's in a swampy marsh, which is cool. But all around here, the super glue and reacted with the puddles. So it's gone all crystally and hardened, and I clearly didn't wait long enough to glue down the tufts. And it's on basically every model. So I'm either going to have to pull off the grass or try and remove the crystallized stuff, repaint it with black, reapply the puddle stuff, and then potentially hide it with a bit more grass tufts. But broadly, other than the mistake, I think, given I'm struggling with the light, I think it looks okay. The only other update from here is I've started painting the big guy, the Croxagore, and have gone with a triad of colours from 2 thin coats. It is the Hydra all the way up to the Ghoul Green. Obviously doesn't look amazing at this stage, but once we go through and do all the rest of the steps, I'm sure it'll look fine. That's your update. Here we go. Here's the Croxagore, all highlighted. I've dry brushed the skin. I've dry brushed the red skin, which I think is like, an enemy he killed. I've done all the base coats for all the silvers and golds. I've highlighted up the skulls inside the mouth as well. So I've basically just highlighted all the core bits that are going to get your attention. Now we smother it in. Streaking grime. Potentially ruin it. Should be fine. And then I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Alright, so I might have solved some of the issues of shooting an iPhone. I at least temporarily have. And I thought it might be interesting to some of you to see me ruin this perfectly good paint job. And hope that it all works out, which I think it will. And this is very awkward and uncomfortable to paint like this with a camera and a tripod between me and the miniature. And I'm sure this isn't how people do it, but to show you how the enamel wash works, which is basically shovel it on, hope for the best, I think it's worth doing. So in theory, this will just work the same way as it did with all the other models. You paint it on, and the enamel wash, you paint it on, you let it dry for, I don't know. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. I don't think you can let it dry for 15 minutes. You can let it dry overnight. I will probably let it dry overnight. And then using white spirits, although I'm using terps, which apparently is far more toxic than white spirits, which I didn't know. And I've just been sitting there. I got a window open. Hopefully that'll undo all the brain damage that I'm getting. And you come back with white spirits, which I'll show after this, and you wipe it off. Now, with the plastic models, I didn't have any drama at all. This model is resin, and while I suspect it will be fine, there is a chance, as you can see, we're literally just covering him. There is a chance, it could all go awry. This could all have been a big waste of my life, but I'm hoping that it just reacts in the same way as all the plastic models. So I will finish this clip up here, but basically I'm just covering all of the effort and paint job with this stuff. Alright, so as you can see, another camera angle, we will solve this one day in the future. This is the Croxagore. This is the model after the enamel wash has mostly dried. There's a little bit that hasn't. You can see it's basically a lot of muck, grime, it is called streaking grime, brown, all the colours come out of the model. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove this enamel and bring back the colours, and it should have a nice shading effect across the model and bring it in line with the rest of them. I use makeup sponges for this because it doesn't leave a fibrous sort of leftovers, unlike cotton buds. And this one, I Probably don't even need to put any terps on this because it's probably got enough stuff in there, but we'll just see, and I'll show you an example, and then we don't need to watch all this. But so you just see I'm barely touching it, and you can see right here that that's already come up quite bright. We'll do it now on here where it's red, and you can see there, if we just come across it all, what was, now it's obviously not nearly as bright as when before the wash went on, but now the red's showing up. These bones, we'll pull some off here. I may need to get a different sponge, but you can see the shade is still sitting in these recess areas, and there's still a layer of grime on everything, but the color is coming up quite brightly, and I'll show you here on the back as well. See, that's kind of a greeny, grey, browny, metallic color there. We write this across, and all of a sudden, all the raised areas, bang, look how shiny they are. So hopefully that is coming across on camera. We're going to do that on the whole model, and then he's basically going to be done. All right, we are over at the hobby desk. This is current day, middle of, what is it, the 14th of April, Alexi. We've just seen me, in theory, what I thought I was recording was me taking the streak and grime off the Croxagore. It was largely out of focus, which I apologize for, but I did keep it in because I just wanted to show how easy it was to just remove all of the streak and grime. But this is the end result. So you've got this Croxagore who's got quite... There is a grime across the whole model, which is the intention. But you can see all through the crevices in the scales, in the ropes, all this stuff that was just base coated. Obviously, the scales were highlighted. We saw that. But all that stuff that was base coated, the armor, it's now got this old, grimy feeling through here. It's given it depth, it's given it shading. Now you can achieve that with an acrylic wash for sure, which an acrylic wash, for an example, is just a paint that comes with most model paints. But I wanted to try this for a multitude of reasons. One, it's a completely different look from the models I normally paint. I think it's come across really effectively, and it's pretty quick. It's almost a cheat code in the same way that, you know, Agrax Earthshade for Citadel or Battle Mud Wash for 2 thin coats are cheat codes. The enamel/oil wash stuff is really effective. I think it's probably more effective on non-organic characters, so robots and tanks and stuff. But again, I'm really happy with it. I've got this like dirty team, and the best highlight for this team for me, and particularly this resin model, one, it's achieved 2 goals, right? The first goal, painted an entire team, which is something I wanted to achieve this year. This was on my to-do list. I knocked it out in what essentially was 2 weeks, probably 1 week on the rest of them, 1 week on this guy. And 2, and probably the most exciting piece of it, the day this guy was finished, I went and played a game with my friends using these models. So this is the Croxagore, which is a beautiful sculpt. I love the teeth within the mask, the different layers of pink I've done, and he's come across really well. Need to touch up the base. It's just lost a bit of paint in transport, and then on the rim, and then I think the puddle effect, for how easy it was, I think it does work. I think they do look like they're coming out of a mud. Maybe it's a bit too dark for what they are, but to be honest with you, I'm really, really happy given the effort put in. So let's take a look at him. That's the Croxagore. He's sort of your big dude. Then you've got all of these... I'm blanking on what they're called. You got all these crocodile dudes, which are painted in a couple of different colours. So we've got sort of the darker green on the left and the more crocodile-y green on the right. They get the job done, don't they? We've got, again, you can see the effect. It kind of gives depth to the bones and to the jewellery, to stuff that I probably didn't want to spend too much time on, and that was the goal. and they look pretty solid. I almost also was able to magnetize. Oops, that's embarrassing. I was able to magnetize the balls, which I think looks good. There's 6 dudes done in a couple of days. Again, different technique to what I'm used to, but it's worked out really nicely. These guys, I did these ones first. I'm actually least happy with these. These are the chameleon skinks. The purple one's okay. The orange one's not great. It didn't quite settle the way the wash, the way I wanted it to, or I did something wrong, or I didn't let it dry enough. I'm not sure. But I did texture using sponging. I did texture the skin on these guys. There is actually some detail when you look up close on these models. It's not just a color with a wash, which I think has worked out pretty effectively. And again, I quite like the shiny, watery effect that we have on the bases for them. And then the final 4 from this team were the skinks. I think they've come up a treat. Again, they look quite dirty, but you can see sort of the textured colors coming through the skin. They're brightly colored, but then I've muted it down with that wash, which is just kind of a bit of a contrasting effect. I don't know if it totally works, but again, to have an entire team done and played with and on the table painted, I clearly need to touch up all of these bases. But have that done in 2 weeks is awesome. Needed to get it done for the video, but also it's just a great little project. Painting 12 guys is a fun thing to do. Need to touch up these bases. The bases aren't varnished because the varnish will affect the clear basing material, so I might need to hand paint that varnish. And then got a couple of accessories, which are just the coins and the little markers. Again, just painted them like aging bronze / copper / whatever you want to call it. Here's the other project. I did a little bit of Star Wars Legion. I thought I'll paint up the droids for Star Wars Legion, which are on my to-do list. I'll use a painting guide. I think I used Sonic Sledgehammer's painting guide. C-3PO took me, I don't know. It might not have even taken an hour, to be honest. Maybe it did take an hour. And I think he looks really good. I like his base. I like how simple he is. There's some silver sort of damaged highlights through there that you can just see with your eye. And I think he's come out really nice. A huge success. Was really happy. Was pumped going into painting my Astro droids. And this is where the failure I was talking about at the start of the video comes in. So I didn't even attempt to paint. I think this is this R4? I can't even remember. R5. I didn't even attempt to paint him. Shaded him. Didn't go any further because I really, really, really stuffed up the R2-D2. To the point where the paint's on so thick up here from painting it, failing it, spraying it, painting, failing, spraying it. I've lost a bit of detail in the model, and it was really disheartening. I just couldn't get the right mix of paints. I tried a bit of a wash. I tried a glaze. By the time I went to straight acrylics, it was just, I'd already lost so much of the detail, and the desire to try and fix this model just wasn't there. And, I think when I sprayed it, I might have accidentally touched it and melted the texture a bit with my fingerprint. And basically, it was just a mess. I tried a few times. I couldn't get it right. That's fine. You're allowed to fail. I clogged up too many of the details. It's something that I thought it was going to take me, an hour to do, like the C-3PO did. And I would just be happy and I'd have it done, but I'm really displeased with it. And I don't think it's going to be a model that I pick up again at all. I think I don't paint C-3PO. Maybe I get another one. I'm not sure, but my desire to go back and finish off my Star Wars Legion models, of which there are several left, is next to nothing. Next to nothing. Maybe if I find someone to play with, that might change my tune. But yeah, that's a failure. Again, if you're in the comments and you think it's salvageable, It probably is, but I just spent so long trying to get these blue details right and stuffing up that it's just kind of, yeah. That happens sometimes. Now I know next time, just to go in with my standard, if it's a character I really want to paint, just go in with my standard techniques, what I'm used to, what I'm comfortable with. Leave the exploration to new things, to things that you want to do quickly and you don't mind if there's a bit of mishaps. Some mishappenings. Anyway, that's the month. Let's go to the farewell. Okay, everyone. Well, that is the month of March wrapped up. Recorded this on the 14th of April. This feels like a reasonable time to do it because at the end of the month I'm rushing to finish models. At this point in the month, I've started more projects and doing the video gives me an excuse to try and speed up that second half of the month, the last 2 weeks, and finish off some stuff. So I'm actually not confident that I'll finish any projects for the month of April, but I will show you what I've been working on throughout the month because it's a bit of a different one for me than what I'm used to. Reflecting on the month that was, March, really, really excited to have 13 Blood Bowl miniatures painted, done. Already have seen the table, have already been played with. I need to take some photos of them after this. Really, really pumped to have that done. Really excited that I painted C3PO and a little disappointed that I have created this thing in my mind about the R2-D2 model where I'm just not going to paint it. And as a result, I probably won't paint many of the Star Wars miniatures I have. Really in the foreseeable future. Who knows? You never know when inspiration will strike. I am heading over to the UK in June, July. So I'm hoping to do, I don't know, I'll do something. Because I'm going to go to Warhammer World, I'm going to go to Nottingham, I'm going to go to all of these places where miniature gaming is massive, where it's made and where it started. And hopefully I come away with a little bit of a haul and we can go through that and we can talk about my experiences there. Again, that'll be April, May. That'll be 3 videos away from now, but I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really excited to show you what I did in the month of April. And if you are still watching, please like and subscribe, hit the bell or whatever it is, and comment. Mostly I care about the comments. Just say good day. If you want me to focus on anything in particular, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, it's not going to be 40k. Blood Bowl, let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you think of this style of video. Not so much the angles, because the camera angles we can work on and we can fix. What do you think of that dropping in the moment while I'm doing projects? Or do you just prefer seeing the finished products? Let me know, you beautiful, beautiful human beings.